Today we will discuss about the introduction of the peritoneum. Peritoneum, it is the large serous sac membrane lining to the abdominal cavity. It has a two layer. We already reflected all the layers of the anti-abdominal wall. Here you can see this is the peritoneum. This is the parietal peritoneum which lining to the inner side of the abdominal cavity. Here also you can see this is the peritoneum which is lying inner side of the abdominal cavity. This is the peritoneum, parietal peritoneum. It has a two type of the layers inside the peritoneum. One is the outer side which lines the inner surface of the abdominal cavity, particularly posterior abdominal wall, anti-abdominal wall, under surface of the diaphragm, and inner side of the pelvis. All this side which is undercovered by the parietal peritoneum, and so that's why it is derived from the somatopleuric intraembryonic mesoderms, and the nerve supply and blood supply are the same, those which are supplied by the anti-abdominal wall, the same blood and nerve supply to the inner side of the parietal peritoneum, and so that's why it is a somatosensory in nature and pain sensitive. Another peritoneum which lies, this is a parietal peritoneum we reflect here, and you can see this is the umbilicus, and just below to the umbilicus there is a fold of the peritoneum. Here it is the sickle shape fold of the peritoneum. Here you can see this is a sickle shape of the fold. This is a right layer, and from this side this is the right layer. You can see here, you can see this falciform ligament, and this is the lower part of the falciform ligament which makes the thickened part. It is by the ligamentum teres. It is the left umbilical vein, obliterated left umbilical veins, and here you can see this is the right layer of the falciform ligament, and towards the on that side it is the left layer of the falciform ligament. There are two layers of this falciform ligament. From this way on the side you can see, and this right side of the falciform ligament which covers to the right lobe of liver, and left side which is covers to the left lobe of the liver. Actually it is a fold of peritoneum, and now it becomes a parietal layer, it becomes visceral layer. So this is the when the peritoneum which covering to the viscera, at that time it is called the visceral peritoneum. Here the liver which is covered by the peritoneum, it is adherent to the viscera, that's why it is a visceral peritoneum. And there are many organs which is covered by the peritoneum, and it is intraperitoneal, like liver, stomach. Here on that left side you can see here this is the spleen. So this is the spleen. Here you can see this is a spleen. So spleen, stomach, liver, even the small intestine which is here, it is completely covered by the peritoneum, visceral peritoneum. It is called the fold small intestine which is suspended by the fold of peritoneum. It is called the mesentery, while the suspension of the stomach fold of the peritoneum, it is called the greater omentum. This is the greater omentum which is the fold of the from the greater curvature of the stomach. It is called the greater omentum. From the lesser curvature of the stomach to the liver, the fold of the peritoneum, it is called the lesser omentum. So from the liver to the lesser curvature of stomach and first part of the duodenum, the fold, it is called the lesser omentum. Part between the liver and stomach, it is called the hepatogastric ligament. It is and part between the liver and first part of the duodenum, it is called the hepatoduodenal ligament, and both are the ultimately part of the lesser omentum. So whatever the covering to the visceral peritoneum which is reflected over the viscera, when the parietal peritoneum reflected over the viscera, at that time it is called the visceral peritoneum. So peritoneum, it is the large serous sac which line to the abdominal cavity, mainly to the which lines to the inner side of the abdominal cavity. This is the parietal peritoneum, which line inner side. It is the easily stripped and easily separable from the anti-abdominal wall, and it completely covers to the anti-abdominal wall, as well as it covers to the under surface of the diaphragm. This part, which is also parietal peritoneum, and here on the pelvic cavity, it is also covered by the parietal peritoneum, and the organs which are covered by the peritoneum are for the intraperitoneal. Whenever there is organs which is only covered by the anterior layer of the peritoneum, then it is called the retroperitoneal. The organs are the retroperitoneal are the mainly the organs which is lies inside the posterior abdominal wall, are the kidney and the great vessels of the inferior vena cava, and also when the peritoneum which lining to the posterior abdominal wall here, and up to the great vessels. This is the inferior vena cava, this is the abdominal aorta. We have removed here the diaphragm and the continuation of the abdominal and thoracic cavity. Here you can see this is a part of the diaphragm, and this peritoneum which is lying to the posterior abdominal wall completely cover these organs, and mainly here the kidney which is lies kidney, it is the retroperitoneal organs, while the ascending and the descending colon here on the both side, on the right side ascending colon and left side there is a descending colon. These are the also retroperitoneal organs which are only covered by the anterior layer of the peritoneum, because that's why it is called the retroperitoneal organs. Kidney, ascending colon, these are the great vessels, mainly the aorta, inferior vena cava, and both the side of the kidney, right and left kidney, and ascending and descending colon are the retroperitoneal organs. Further, I will tell you the some organ, like here I will show you this pancreas. This pancreas which is goes upwards and towards the left, towards the here there is a spleen, and this organ, it is also a retroperitoneal pancreas, and first part of the duodenum and up to the opening of bile duct, second part, all these are the second part of the duodenum and third part of the duodenum and fourth part of the duodenum are the retroperitoneal, while the first part, which is the intraperitoneal, and second part, it is also a intraperitoneal organs. Second part up to the opening of bile duct, it is the part of the duodenum which is the intraperitoneal. So pancreas, first and second part up to the opening of bile duct are the pancreas, second and third part and fourth part of the duodenum which is the retroperitoneal. Ascending colon is retroperitoneal, descending colon is retroperitoneal, and kidney, both the side are retroperitoneal, as well as there is a great vessels are the retroperitoneal. Some of the organs we already discussed, the opening of the bile duct into the second part of the duodenum. Below it, mainly the third and fourth part of the duodenum, which is secondary retroperitoneal. Initially it is the intraperitoneal, after that it becomes retroperitoneal, as well as here the ascending colon, and same way on the this is on the right side, this is the descending colon. Both are initially intraperitoneal, later on it becomes retroperitoneal organs. Now we will discuss about the here you can see this is the liver which is suspended by the two mesentery. Posteriorly it is by the stomach which is suspended, foregut which is suspended by the two mesentery, dorsal mesentery as well as ventral mesentery, which is further divided into the two part by the development of the liver. Anterior to the liver, it develops the falciform ligament and also over the ligament, right and left triangular ligament, and on the right lobe it develops the superior and inferior coronary ligament which develops from the ventral mesentery of the foregut, and from the dorsal mesentery there is a further from the liver to the stomach part of the, it is called the lesser omentum. From the stomach to the posterior abdominal wall, in between there is one, again it into the cranial part there is a development of the spleen, and it forms the part of the dorsal mesentery, it forms the gastrosplenic ligament. So but the derivative of the midgut and hindgut, which are only suspended by the dorsal mesentery, it has a no ventral mesentery on the derivative of the midgut and hindguts. This dorsal foregut of the dorsal mesogastrium, which lower part it develops the greater omentum, and cranial part it makes the gastrosplenic ligament, and most cranial part it makes the gastrophrenic ligament, which is connecting to the stomach to the diaphragm. So this is about to the derivatives of the mesogastrium. Foregut have a ventral and dorsal, both the mesogastrium, while the midgut and hindgut have a only dorsal mesogastrium. I will show you here on the abdominal wall. This is the umbilicus. So between, this is the part of the ventral mesogastrium, it develops the falciform ligament. Here it develops the superior layer of the coronary ligament. This is the superior layer of the coronary ligament, and from the superior layer of the coronary ligament, which is reflected over the diaphragm, same way it covers to the liver, anterior surface, inferior surface, and then it goes to the posteriorly, and it is makes the posterior layer of the coronary ligament. And so that's why ventral mesogastrium makes the falciform ligament, it makes the superior coronary ligament, it makes the right and left triangular ligament on the both sides, and the part of the ventral mesentery between the development of the liver in between the liver and stomach, ventral mesentery, it is a further ventral mesentery divided into the two parts. This is the anterior part which develops the falciform ligament mainly, and the right and left coronary ligament, and superior and inferior layer of the coronary ligament, and right and left triangular ligament, and the posterior part of the ventral mesentery, it develops the lesser omentum. While the dorsal mesogastrium, part between the stomach and posterior abdominal wall, which is mainly into the lower part, it develops the greater omentum. This is the greater omentum. So it fold of the peritoneum, which develops into the major portion of the dorsal mesogastrium, which suspended by the foregut, it develops the greater omentum, while into the upper part between the stomach and spleen, it makes the gastrosplenic ligament, and most upper part between the stomach and diaphragm, it is called the partly, it makes the gastrophrenic ligament. So on the upper part of the stomach, where there is opening of the esophagus, and the remaining part of the midgut and hindgut have only dorsal mesogastrium. Mainly the derivative of the foregut are the esophagus, stomach, first part of the duodenum, and second part of the duodenum up to the opening of the bile duct. Derivative also there is a derivative of the foregut are the pancreas, which is at the junction of the foregut and midgut. It is the two pancreatic buds, ventral and dorsal pancreatic buds, which is developed, and both are united. Rotation of the gut, it lead to the both are united, and it develops the pancreas. But also spleen, which is developed from the foregut, it is the derivative of the foregut. Liver, it is the derivative of the foregut. derivative of the midguards are the mainly to the duodenum below to the opening of the bile duct, then small intestine, whole of the small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, and also there is a development of the ascending colon, cecum, ascending ileocolic junction, cecum, ascending colon, and transverse colon up to the right two-third. Up to the right two-third, it is the derivative of the midguards. Derivative of the hindguards are the lateral one-third of the transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, and anal canal up to the pectinate line. It is the derivative of the hindguard. So all three are the foregut, midgut, and hindguards have a there is a blood supply which is coming from the foregut, which is blood supply by the celiac trunk. Derivative of the midguts, which is blood supplied by the branches of superior mesenteric artery, and derivative of the hindgut, which is supplied by the branches of the inferior mesenteric artery. So this is about to the basic of the peritoneum. Once again I will show you, this is the ligamentum teres, lower part of the falciform ligament. It is the left obliterated left umbilical artery. This is the falciform ligament. This is the right layer. On this side it is the left layer, and it covers to the whole of the liver area. Here you can see this is the reflections of the, here you can see this is the reflections of the peritoneum. It is a superior layer of the coronary, and then it becomes continuous as a right triangular ligament, and posteriorly here at that layer it is the inferior layer of the coronary ligament. This margin, it is the inferior layer of the coronary ligament, and in between this area of the liver which is not covered by the peritoneum, here I will put the another liver. Here you can see this is the superior layer of the coronary ligament. Same here you can see this is a superior layer of the coronary ligament, and which is reflected over the diaphragm. Here also the superior layer which is reflected over the diaphragm, and it becomes continuous into the anti-abdominal wall. Here it is on the anti-abdominal inner side of the anti-abdominal wall. So same way it covers to the whole of the liver on the right lobe, and then it becomes, here it is reflected on the posteriorly, and then it becomes reflected into the posterior abdominal wall. It is reflected over the posterior abdominal wall. So here it is reflected from the posterior abdominal wall, and then this is covered to the, this is a peritoneum which covered to the kidney, right kidney, and it makes the hepatorenal pouch. It is called the Morrison pouch. So it is a Morrison pouch. So here you can see this is the reflection. This is the superior layer of the coronary ligament. It covers to the whole of the liver from anterior surface, inferior surface, and then it reflects on the posterior abdominal wall. It is from the posterior coronary ligament. And here this fold which is together, it makes the, and it fold both are it makes the triangular ligament, and this triangular ligaments which is here you can see this is the triangular ligament which is reflected over the diaphragm. It is reflected over the diaphragm. On the left side it does not makes the coronary ligament, but this is the anterior layer of the left layer of the falciform ligament. This is the posterior layer, and it makes the left triangular ligament. Anterior layer which is reflected same as into the anti-abdominal wall. Posterior layer which is reflected over the posterior abdominal wall. So this is the reflections of the peritoneum over the liver, and here you can see this is the lesser omentum which is connecting to the ligamentum venosum, and from the porta hepatis to the lesser curvature of the stomach, it is the lesser omentum. From the greater curvature of the stomach, it completely goes downwards. First layer becomes the fourth layer, and second layer become covering to the third layer, and it is along with it there is a transverse mesocolon. Along with its transverse mesocolon, this is the greater omentum, and this greater omentum, it is called the policeman of the abdomen, because it has a characteristic abundant amount of the appendices epiploica, and it contains a million of lymphocytes, and it is a capacity to go towards the wherever infection inside the abdomen, and it seals the infection. That's why it is called the policeman of the abdomen. And here the last one here, it is the fold of the peritoneum which suspending to the small intestine. Here you can see this is the small intestine which is suspended by the fold of peritoneum by the, it is the mesentery. Here you can see this is a fold of peritoneum which cover to the right layer, which is right layer which is covered to the left layer. It is continuous. So here it is also a visceral peritoneum, and this is a parietal peritoneum. So peritoneum covering to the small intestine, it is called the mesentery, and into the lower part, the this is the large intestine, and here you can see this is a vertical muscles, longitudinal muscles fiber. It is called the tinea coli, and this tinea coli, it has a three on the three sides, and mainly here you can see this is also another tinea coli, and this tinea coli, it lead to the circulations of the large intestine, circulations of the large intestine. So we will discuss later on into the detail about the each and every part of the peritoneum. Now we will discuss into the next lecture by the tracing of the peritoneum. Hope you like the superficial discussion of the peritoneum. Thank you.